Alrighty, hello guys. There was a bit of issues there with, for some reason, I couldn't get the first live stream to actually go on my phone for some reason, so I had to create a new one. That was what kind of caused the delay. But here I am now. I'm gonna wait for a few people because I know I had more people on the old stream, and obviously I had to delete it because for some reason it wasn't allowing me to actually stream. It's really annoying. Don't know why that happened. But I'm gonna wait for a few more people to come in. Oh, okay, it looks like we're getting that right now. And all right, that's good to see. So basically, I'm gonna go into the news first, as always. And actually, this week we have a lot of news, so it's gonna be uh, at least for reopenings and reopening dates. I'm just gonna kind of skim through those because we have so many of them, and I don't want the news, like the news stuff, to take like a super long time. And also, I'm gonna be doing trivia again. I actually, oh, this is a Cedar Point shirt, by the way, if you were wondering. I am wearing that. Also, as you can see, I can't get it. Maybe I can get it out of the camera. No, I can't. I have my MacBook Pro 16 inch. I just got that, so that's why my computer is all of a sudden like kind of in the frame. It wasn't because the one I was originally using for live streams was smaller, but I'll have to figure out, I guess, how to get it out of the frame for the future. But yeah, so I'm gonna go straight into the news. Oh yeah, wait, sorry. And then I'm also gonna do trivia later. It's gonna be 4 sets of 5 questions. And actually, I am going to do the last set. I'll kind of explain it when we get there. But I'm gonna do something a little different. And I'm gonna be trying to split up in the future because it actually takes a long time for me to come up with these questions. The last set of questions is going to be trivia about me and the channel, and I've mentioned all these things in like videos, so this isn't like just random stuff I'm asking. I've actually like mentioned this stuff that I'm going to ask in the last set of 5 questions in my videos, so it's going to be a little more about me and the channel rather than coasters. That's just going to be the last set, but the first 3 are going to be like the same sort of thing you would normally see. So I'll go into the news. Our first set of news are just reopenings, like parks that have just reopened this week or reopened recently. Um, and these are just the major ones I have. There could have been other ones that happened. But Nagashima Spa Land in Japan, that is the park with Steel Dragon 2000, Acrobat, and Hakuge. That park has reopened. Chimelong Ocean Kingdom, their actual outdoor park and their outdoor coasters have not reopened yet. However, their indoor attractions, including their aquarium, which is actually the largest aquarium in the entire world, has reopened. Energylandia has also reopened. So Abyssus hopefully should open soon, which is going to be awesome because that ride, I've been like waiting for it for so long. Happy Valley Wuhan has actually, or Wuhan, yeah, Wuhan, I totally butchered that, has reopened as well, which is pretty surprising. Wasn't expecting to hear that, but they did reopen. And also the Florida Fun Spot Parks, they reopened too, along with Gatorland. Actually, Gatorland opens tomorrow, but basically, yeah, it's pretty much reopened. And Mount Olympus, I believe, just opened today. I saw some pictures and footage, so that's pretty cool. Um, and then as for future reopening dates, like I said, I'm just going to skim through these because I don't want this to be too long. Frontier City, this isn't necessarily a reopening date, but Six Flags, I believe, has said that they believe that Frontier City in Oklahoma will be the first Six Flags park to open. Oh, thank you for the congratulations on the new laptop. It's something I've wanted for a while. And I've actually just pretty much been editing with my phone, so this will be like a huge thing. But for my future videos, you might see me play around with different softwares just for a little bit. Just kind of getting used to what I'm going to be doing with editing and for my videos. Um, and then for the other reopening dates, actually, Great Adventure Safari is going to be a drive-through, so that's pretty cool. It's going back to its old roots. Alabama Adventure is reopening on May 30th. Actually, I believe you're saying that the Fun Spot Orlando one is open, but the one in Kissimmee is still closed. Actually, I think you are right. I should have put that in there. But yeah, I believe the one in Kissimmee is still closed, but I'm pretty sure it's going to reopen relatively soon. And yeah, like I said, Alabama Adventure is reopening May 30th. Magic Springs in Arkansas is opening June 1st. Uh, I'll get to the California parks in a minute. Basically, and I'll just yeah, I'll get that to that in a minute. There's like just a lot of stuff I have to get through. Legoland Florida is reopening June 1st as well, and Quasi, the park with Wooden Warrior, is opening on June 20th. And of course, the big ones, Universal Studios Orlando is reopening on June 5th, so that's pretty insane. I believe it's opening earlier for pass holders, but for the general public, it is June 5th. In Holiday World, I believe this is also the reopening date for the public, for the general public. It is June 17th, and they will be doing virtual queuing. And actually, I believe so is Universal Orlando. So that's something interesting. And as for the UK parks, it doesn't look like they will reopen before July 4th, at least the Merlin ones. So that's pretty crazy. Um, and now I'll try to answer your questions that you guys put here. I did not see the Coaster Studios prank yet, but I'm sure it's pretty good. I saw that they uploaded that. I just haven't had the time to see it yet. Let's see. Oh yeah, the updates on the California parks. Pretty much nothing. We have no clue when they're gonna reopen. I'm gonna expect at earliest late June. Honestly, that I'm expecting more July to be honest. That's just what I'm thinking at this point. Six Flags Great America, no clue either. And I'm just looking through here. When parks are open, can you ride all the rides? I think there may be some attractions and things that are closed, but I think like the roller coasters are for the most part are gonna be open. That seems to be what's happening at like other international parks. And then Six Flags Great America, the governor said they have no plans of opening until there's a vaccine. I think they'll reopen sooner than that because if other parks start doing it, I can't see how they wouldn't, but maybe not. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I don't know if it could be possible that maybe I don't know how that's gonna work with how the California parks open. I don't know if Northern California is gonna open before Southern. LA and San Francisco have some pretty dense areas, so I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see. You do need to wear a mask for going into Universal, as far as I'm aware. The water park, they are not requiring it, but I believe Universal said that it is required. However, how far they're gonna actually like enforce that remains to be seen. Would you say that Cedar Fair will be the last parks to open? I don't know. It's just kind of a wait and see sort of thing. We'll see. How that all goes. Okay, so I got through the reopening dates, and so I'm going to go into the other news, and there's also quite a bit here. Universal's Epic Universe construction is stalling until the economy begins to bounce back, which this might delay the opening by like quite a bit. So that's definitely something interesting. Hopefully it doesn't delay the opening too much. I don't believe there is an official opening. Like, I think we were just guessing it was like 2023. I don't know if that'll be pushed back like a few months or what's going to happen. I mean, I guess it probably will be pushed back a few months. We'll just kind of have to wait and see. But yeah, construction there has stalled. However, the Velocicoaster the construction is still going, and that ride is looking insane. Apparently, it's going to have a top hat. The supports for it have been put in. It just keeps looking like really incredible. That ride is going to be just absolutely fantastic when it opens next year. And like I said, construction's still going on with that ride, so that is definitely good news. And in other news, 2 new rides are coming to Marineland, which is in Canada, including a Zero Starshape, which is like pretty much, it's an inverting flat ride, and it looks kind of like a Mondial top scan with like how the I guess the seats are like, but it's a pretty different ride. And then some other unknown attractions. So that's something interesting. We already knew they were getting 2 attractions. We just didn't exactly know what they were. And then Adventureland in Iowa. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about this. They are currently removing their Hopkins Looper Dragon, and like everyone's like trying to speculate what they're gonna get. I've heard that the new ride may be called Dragon Slayer, which I mean I would not be surprised by. I guess that would make sense. I would like to see myself like a Chance Hyper GTX would be awesome at that park. I think also a new Vekoma would be fantastic. I think any of those options would be really good. So that's just kind of what I hope to see. I could maybe see a Premier Skyrocket 2 go there, but we'll just have to wait. Um, and actually, I'm gonna go through your comments before I get to this next one because uh, it's also quite a bit. Let's see. Some parts are optional. Yeah, I think that's about right. Oh, I'm looking at all this stuff. Sorry. How does Hagrid's Magical Creatures motorbike adventure look? It looks amazing from what I've seen. Of course, I have not ridden it, but definitely one of my most anticipated rides in all of Florida. It just looks absolutely fantastic. The theming, and I mean, it just looks insanely good. Especially like yeah, probably one of the best coasters in Florida right now, for sure. Apparently, Kings Island is getting this other swing ride in 2020 along with Orion. Really? I don't know about that, but I didn't hear about that. So that would be news to me if that's actually happening. I don't think that's happening, but I don't know. Kings Island isn't my home park, so wouldn't know. It's called Neptune. I mean, I guess that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know too much about that, but if that's happening, I'll have to look into that more. SNS Axis, I was thinking that too. I just don't think they're gonna be the ones to get the first one. I was kind of like joking with somebody. I'm like, imagine if Adventureland next year they just come out and they're like, oh yeah, we're getting the first Axis. That'd be like so crazy. I don't think that's gonna happen, but that would be awesome. Uh, you have a picture. Okay, I believe you. All right. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, that would make this like this year even bigger for Kings Island, which kind of makes it all the more sad. But yeah, I could definitely see that. As someone who has ridden Hagrid, it has some fun and surprising moments of intensity. Yeah, there's some moments that look like, hey, they could be a little more intense than like what some people expect. So that's pretty cool. Orion, I don't know when it's gonna open. It'll open this year. I'm pretty sure. Like, yeah, I'm actually like 99% sure it'll open this year. Okay, so for our last bit of news, Joyland in Texas is a small park. I believe they don't really have that many coasters. They only have three, and they weren't too notable, but it is a park that might close for good, they are saying. I don't know too much about the park. I probably should have looked into it a little more, but that is something, if you like live around there, that they may close for good, and I believe they are going to be closed for 2020. So that's something. And then Gillian's Wonderland Pier in New Jersey. They actually just added a Husk Frisbee and took out a Zamperla swing ship, so that's something also interesting. And probably like some of the weirdest news I've heard. No, I don't think Joyland has that coaster. I was because I think I was actually looking for that, or maybe it does. I hope not. That would be really bad. I'm looking for it actually as we speak. Um, they have a Zyklon. Um, uh, yeah, Zyklon from SDC. A Dragon Wagon in Sandstorm. So no, they don't have it. Yeah, I was like looking at that. Actually, hold on. What park is that at? Let's see. Because I do know about the coaster you're talking about. It's just, oh, Texas Tornado, yeah. Okay, yeah, it's at a different park. It's at Wonderland. No, this is Joyland. Because, yeah, I was like, when I thought about that, I'm like, oh, shoot. Are they actually, like, gonna, get rid of, get rid of that? That would have been sad because that ride actually looks pretty cool. No, I actually literally, no, Stamford Bridge, I literally thought the same thing. I thought that was what the park was when I first heard about it, and I was like, oh, okay, it's actually not that one. Yeah, that would have been really sad. I mean, this is still kind of sad if it happens, but, I mean, this coaster is just really unique, so, yeah. Okay, so for, like, Okay, so I'm sure a lot of you have heard about this because this came out earlier in the week. If you watch Coaster Studios, he did a video on it, and actually Alec from Coaster Studios, big part in this whole story, really. Basically, Alec from Coaster Studios and Tim May, the owner of an extreme haunted attraction in Columbus, Ohio, that is called Haunted Hoochie. Yes, that is literally the name of the place. That's not even a joke. They are getting the famous backyard coasters Blue Flash and Blue 2. And because these coasters were actually going to be retired by John Ivers, the creator, so they're moving them over to this haunted attraction, and they're trying to get it up the code so they can reopen it to the public, which I think is pretty awesome. Bit of a weird place though. Like a haunt attraction is definitely not like where I would have expected these coasters to go, and I have no clue if they are actually going to be like able to get them to open to the public. But definitely a bit of a cool story there, especially like with that. But I looked more into the place. Yeah, it's said to be like one of the scariest haunt attractions like in the entire U.S. It's crazy, Haunted Hoochie, and it's gotten into quite a bit of controversy. I'm not gonna like go into all the different things, but there's actually quite a bit of interesting history there. But no, I still think it's really cool that they were able to save these backyard coasters. Just really awesome. If you haven't checked that video out, definitely. A few incidents there. Like, they don't really have rides, so it's not that. It's more like just, I think it was more just kind of like political stuff that they got into. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but you can look into that if you want. But the place just seems pretty interesting, I'll say that. Don't know if it's a place I would go to if they didn't have these rides. I'll just put it that way. And also, like I said, it's an extreme haunt attraction. The scare actors can like touch you and stuff. It's pretty crazy. Like, I like Scary Farm and stuff like that, but I think this place might be a little too much for me in some cases because that's just pretty crazy. Yeah, I think actually they have had some incidents. Now that you mention it with the probably with the scare actors and stuff, that probably has happened, I imagine. Yeah, so that's interesting. So let's see, it's 6:21, perfect. So I am going to start with the first 5 questions of trivia. Basically, I guess, like I said, I'm going to do 4 sets of 5 today. And the first 3 sets of 5 are going to be like the same kind of questions that I normally do. And the last set of 5, I'm going to be doing questions that are more about me and the channel. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I'm just kind of experimenting. Because making these questions that are like all coaster related is really difficult. It actually takes me a really long time for me to like make and come up with these. So I'm gonna try to like split it up more in the future, so that way I don't like run out of questions, because I'm like starting to find that it is hard to make some of these. So with all that said, let's go right into the trivia. And our first question is, what was the name of the first roller coaster ever built by Vekoma? I'll say that again. What was the name of the first roller coaster ever built by Vekoma? So I'll let you guys have a few seconds there. Or do I need to repeat it again? Let's see. It's not Batwing. It's not Tornado. Not Tornado at Wallaby, Belgium. This one's pretty hard to get, actually. Like, I didn't even know this one, and when I even saw the name of the ride, I'm like, what is this? Hadn't heard of it, honestly. No, it's not Boomerang. Good guess. I mean, I would have probably guessed that too. No, not Google. It's not Tornado at Holiday Park. Actually, was it under that name? Because I feel like sometimes, like, because I'm going off of a name I, saw. Of course, it may have been called something else, so I'm just gonna look real quick. No, it wasn't named Tornado, so that's not right. It's not corkscrew. Good guess. Um, the question was, what was the first coaster ever built by Vekoma Coaster Roaster? So I'm gonna give you guys 15 more seconds. If no one gets it, I'll just say the answer because yeah, it's pretty difficult. Like I said, I hadn't even heard of this coaster up until like I actually like made the question. So yeah, so 10, 9, 8. It's not flashback. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I'll just get it. I'll just say it now because no one got it. The name of the first roller coaster ever built by Vekoma is Super Wurble, and that's Wurble as Wirbel, and it was at Holiday Park, the same park that has now Expedition G-Force, and it opened in 1979 and was a Vekoma corkscrew with a Baron curve, one of those. And it operated until 2013 when it closed. So it actually existed for a long time. And also, it was the first coaster to feature an inversion in Germany. So pretty cool coaster, like just kind of history-wise. I don't think they kept the inversion, which is kind of sad because it feels like they could have done what Alton Towers could have, like something like that, where they kept the corkscrew. Yeah, you did get the park right. So that was like why I was like, maybe it was called that before, but no, it wasn't. Tornado was a good guess, though. You can still see one of the corkscrews, really? Oh, really? Yeah, that's cool. Like, I would understand why. That seems pretty awesome. Um, so the second question is, and I hope no one gets too mad at me for this one, because it's a little strange, but I'll just ask it anyways. What is the name of the football stadium next to California's Great America? I'll say that again. What is the name of the football stadium next to California's Great America? So obviously, if you've been to Great America, um, well, I guess you would know. Levi Stadium, got it. Okay, I see a lot of people are getting it, so I figured quite a few people would know. So the Coaster Roaster got it first, then Garden State Thrills, and then sorry if I butchered this. Dagan Barnes got it, and Coaster Key as well. It's not 49ers Stadium. I figured someone would guess that. But yeah, Levi Stadium is the stadium that's right next to California's Great America. Never seen a game in it, but and honestly, I don't think it looks like that good of a stadium. A lot of complaints about the heat when games actually happen. There's not enough shade, so could have done a better job there with the whole shading situation. All right, so the third question is, how many Vekoma boomerangs have been built? I'll say that again. How many Vekoma boomerangs have been built? This one is also very difficult. I think I may have made some of these a little too difficult. 86, no, and I am not counting like the relocations as built. Yeah, too many is the answer. It's not 46. That's actually close. Too many, yeah. 126, no. 53, that is correct. Coaster Lover 2, I'm shocked. Yeah, 53, that is correct. I'm surprised anyone got that now that I think about it. But it's not 54. If you look on RCDB, it shows up as 54, but there's actually one that's technically still under construction. So Coaster Lover 2001 did get it right. It is 53. Coaster Roaster also got it right, surprisingly. Coaster Key, you were close, but like I said, there is one that is listed on RCDB that is still under construction technically, so it doesn't count. It's in Russia, so yeah, that's just kind of what's going on. So, it was a completely random guess. Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah, this computer I have here, like I was mentioning it earlier in the stream, it's bigger than the old it is my new MacBook Pro. It's bigger than the old laptop, so that's why I don't have it out of the frame. So that's just kind of why it's there. But yeah, this is it. This is the new MacBook Pro. Let's see. Oh, so our next question is, how many inverts has B&M ever built? And these are thrilling inverts. I shouldn't, so don't count the family inverts. I'll say that again. How many inverts has B&M ever built? So, yeah. It's not 17. It's not 18. It's not 29. Also, I'm considering, I'm Dragon Challenge, I'm considering two different inverts. So it is not 21. It's not 26. It's not 25. It's not 27. It's higher than all of your guesses, by the way. It's not 31. You guys are getting closer, but just not quite there. And once again, if you look this up on RCDB, it's not correct. It's not 36 because, yeah, it's not 36. It's not 33. It's not 45. It's not 51. Some of you guys are close, but just not there. It's not 26. It's not 34. It's not 30. It's not 32. It's not 31. It's not 66. It's not 34. It's not 37. 35. That is correct. I mean, at this point, you guys were just guessing, but 35 is correct. And Blue, it does say on RCDB 36, but that's because they're including Blue Harvest, which actually hasn't been built yet. So 35 have been built thus far, and of course the only two that are actually like pretty much scrapped are the Dragon Challenge Duo, Chinese Fireball, and Hungarian Horntail. Actually, I'm curious, have any of you guys here in the chat written either of those? I'd just like to know your thoughts on either Chinese Fireball or Hungarian Horntail, and if you experienced them dueling, like just how was that? You can tell me about that after I go over my fifth question real quick. Wait, 3 are real. Oh shoot, did I mess that up? That would not be good. I tried to get this so this didn't happen. Oh shoot, yeah, you're totally right. Yeah, it's 31. My bad. Yeah, okay, I did get that wrong. I looked at the wrong thing. You're right. It is 31. That's I think the first time where I've actually mistaken like the actual answer to a question, but okay, so that was my bad. Yeah, he's right. It is 31. It does say 32, but like I said, one's still under construction. So yeah, that's my bad. So I'm going to go to the last question of our set here, and that is, what is the name of the only RMC iBox conversion that is not a hybrid coaster and is considered to be just a steel coaster? I'll say that again. What is the name of the only RMC iBox conversion that is not a hybrid and is considered to be just a steel coaster? And Storm Chaser is correct. The Coaster Roaster, 808 CoasterLife, Eric Thomason, all got it right, like within a few seconds. So yeah, Storm Chaser, because Twisted Twins was a wooden coaster, had wooden track on a steel structure, and so of course when they put the steel track on there, it's a steel coaster, a steel track and steel support, so steel coaster pretty much. No wood left over. So yeah, that's why it is the only RMC conversion that is considered to be a true steel coaster instead of a hybrid. So that's pretty interesting. Okay, so now here's a time where you can like ask questions or things to discuss. If you want me to discuss more like some of the news things I mentioned earlier, we can certainly go into that. But yeah, so basically if you want to discuss things, and also like I said, if you've ridden Dragon Challenge, tell me about it also. Like this would be a good time. Let's see. Let's because I know some you guys, you wish you rode Dragon Challenge before they closed. I wish I did as well. Hungarian Horntail. You think it was a little overrated? I've heard that Chinese Fireball is like the far better one. I've actually heard that Hungarian Horntail wasn't anything that amazing. So, you rode them after they stopped doing in 2013. They were both solid rides, but probably my least favorite B&M inverts I've ridden. Okay, that's interesting because I hear people rave Chinese Fireball like all the time. But yeah. So yeah, Indiana Beach is reopening. They're having like a big event. You can buy a brick for like $70. So yeah, the catwalk on Storm Chaser is wooden. Yeah, that is correct. Actually, I did look up a picture of that. Yeah, the catwalk's wooden, but that doesn't really count at all. We should get Coaster Daddy in the chat. He might be doing something else. So if we could do that, sure. But he's probably doing something else is going to be my guess. Are the coaster manufacturing companies' warehouses open? I don't know exactly. I haven't been like following that. I assume they are, but I wouldn't know. What's my 12th favorite coaster manufacturer? I don't even have like a top 10 list written out anywhere, so I couldn't even tell you what 12 is. I'm just like, I could honestly couldn't tell you. I actually have a hard time even determining my top three, so. If I were to plan a big coaster trip with a new park each day, how many days in a row do you think you could comfortably do? That is interesting because I've actually never done a coaster trip with more like a park trip with more than I think two, maybe three parks. And even those, I wouldn't exactly call those like a coaster trip at all, actually. So I don't know exactly. Like, because I've done vacations, a lot of vacations in the past, I probably could go around 2 weeks and then I'd probably like die. That would just be my guess. Probably around 2 weeks, just from like thinking about like other vacations in the past where I've done other things. Probably about 2 weeks is how long I would last. Did I ride Mako at any point? No, I have not. Because I haven't actually been to Florida yet, so I really need to get out there. I love the ride, and before the mid course, it's pretty much lifter to ride. You get a good pop off the mid course brake run in the back row. Also, Railblazer I think also has a wooden catwalk. Like, there's a few rides that have it. It's just kind of like, yeah. Coaster Hour and Coaster Daddy collab would be cool. Now that you bring it up, yeah, that would be cool. If he was interested in that, I'm sure we could get something to happen. That'd be pretty awesome, actually. I'd be up for that, for sure. Um, oh, the question for, like, the manufacturing warehouses, are they essential? I don't know exactly where those would fall under. But, I mean, I thought they were still working on stuff, but I'm not entirely sure. The colors on Firebird are disgusting. They do look pretty bad to be honest. They don't look good. Uh, it's awful on camera, but amazing in person. Okay, that would make more sense because from like the photos I've seen, it looks pretty bad to be honest. Uh, and Hershey was my favorite park before visiting Cedar Point. You said it in your introduction video. That was before you were at Cedar Point. Actually, Hershey Park is still my favorite park I've ever been to. That's an unpopular opinion, but I actually do prefer Hershey Park over Cedar Point. I think a lot of you kind of know about that by now, but yeah, I still like Hershey Park more than Cedar Point, and it is still my favorite park that I have ever been to. I don't expect it to be forever, but definitely a really good park. If you haven't been, definitely you have to make it out there. It's just incredible. Um, Best Nagashima Spa Lane color scheme. I don't know. Actually, Hakuge. That's for sure. Um, Thoughts on Skyrush. Okay, so the thing with Skyrush, it is my number 3 coaster I have ever ridden, and I actually only got like a few rides on it. And they were more closer to the front row, but even then, I thought the airtime it gave was absolutely insane. The drop, it was still really good, but I didn't understand like all the hype for it. But I hear it's like way better in the back, so that's kind of why I want to experience Skyrush in the back during my next visit. Because for whatever reason, I just decided not to do it during my first and only visit I've done to Hershey Park. But Skyrush, the airtime's insane. The first turn's super intense. Actually, the first two airtime hills are the best ones. There's the Stingle dive is crazy. The whole ride's just incredible. I mean, yeah. Skyrush's drop is a top 5 drop. Yeah. I don't know for me. Like, it was still really good, but like I said, I need to ride in the back row because that's just gonna be where it's like incredible. And I think I could handle the pain. The pain wasn't that like if you're wondering like what I thought of the restraints. Yeah, it was a little bit painful. Actually, it only like sucked really on the brake run. During the ride, it didn't really bother me that much, and I mean, it really isn't as bad as some people have made it out to be. I did ride in a wing seat actually, and I didn't think it was that bad. Of course, it was more toward the front, but yeah, I have ridden in a wing seat, so I've done both middle and wing, so I thought those were fine. But honestly, there's worse restraints out there. I think like Coast Riders restraints. I think I mentioned that a lot. That is terrible. The Wild Mouse at Knott's Berry Farm. Those restraints are terrible. So yeah, Orion is a giga or Onion is a giga. Um, yeah, but by winter it might not be. Um, just because like people were bringing up, it was like it might shrink in the winter, so it's kind of funny. Yeah, Coast Rider, the shin guards are terrible, like absolutely awful. Okay, I'm gonna go for the next 5 questions, our next set of trivia. Okay, uh, I'm trying to get this to work. Okay, so let it. I'm gonna like wait a few seconds, see if this is a problem again, and then I'll go for the question because I think it like you guys couldn't hear it. Okay, so I'm gonna do the question again. Actually, I want to. Yeah, it's hard for me to like actually see both things at the same time. I probably could have caught that it was lagging. But anyways, sorry. The first question of our second set of trivia. That was what I was going to go into. And so for our first question, it is what was the name of the tallest aero suspended coaster ever built? I'll say that again. What was the name of the tallest aero suspended coaster ever built? It was not. It's not Vortex. It's not the Bat. It's not Vortex. It's not the Bat. It's Eric Thomason got it right. It is Hayabusa. I probably butchered that terribly, but it is at. It was at. I mean, Tokyo Summerland, obviously in Japan, and it operated from 1992 to 2005. It was 138 feet tall, which is pretty insane, and it had a 124-foot tall drop that was said to be pretty crazy actually, and it had a top speed of 60 miles per hour. Now, if you're wondering why you haven't heard about this coaster like a little bit more, it's because footage of it is extremely hard to find, and also outside of that drop, the layout is actually not really anything that interesting, but it's pretty cool that it had that first drop. The park it was at actually still operates to this day, and they have a Vekoma Tornado named Tornado, which features 2 inversions. So, the Tornado, I guess, kind of comes back into the fold a little bit because I know some of you guys like answered Tornado as like your first Vekoma coaster, which was a good guess, but it wasn't quite that. Aero suspended coasters are just so re-rideable. I like Iron Dragon a lot. Ninja, I've had good and bad rides on it, so yeah, something kind of interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna go for the next question, and that is, what is the name of the tallest coaster ever built by Golden Horse? I'll say that again. What is the name of the tallest roller coaster ever built by Golden Horse? Now this this one's gonna be pretty difficult, I think. It is not Dive Coaster. That is close. That is really close, but it is not Dive Coaster. But I mean, I can understand definitely why you would have guessed that's it. Because you're really close. Are you allowed to look up the answers for these questions? I mean, if no one guesses it, like within like the first, I guess, 10 to 15 seconds, sure. Because I think at that point, okay, Rings of Earth got it, Vertical Roller Coaster, but basically before that I was saying that if no one gets it within like the first 10 seconds I say the question, yeah, you can look it up at that point because I mean, I don't think anyone else is gonna get it. But basically, this ride is actually a knockoff of a B&M dive coaster. It is 196 feet tall. It features a holding brake and a vertical drop. And the ride is really weird because after you go through the drop, you go into a sidewinder inversion. Like if you, there's like very little footage of it out there, but if you look it up, it looks so weird. And then later on, you kind of go through the mouth of a shark, like a shark themed tunnel, which is pretty weird. But man, it just looks so strange. But definitely an interesting ride for sure. So for our next question, manages to knock off B&M and Intamin at the same time. I guess I could kind of see that. Um, but anyway, wait. Okay, hold on. Eric Thomason, I think the reason why they knocked off a B&M dive coaster is because, I mean, those rides are pretty successful for parks, so like it just makes a lot of sense that they would try that. Uh, I wonder how it actually is. It actually doesn't look that terrible. It just looks more weird than anything. I should start a Discord server. I've thought of it. We'll kind of see. But I have considered it. Alright, so our next question is, what was the original name of Gekion Live Coaster, the first spinning coaster to feature an inversion? I probably butchered that again, but I'll say that question again. What was the original name of Gekion Live Coaster, the first spinning coaster to feature an inversion? Eric Thomason got it again. Veil of Dark. Yeah, that is correct. And this coaster actually, when it first opened, it was a shooting dark ride in the beginning instead of the rhythm game that it is now. Pretty interesting that they decided to change it. But if you didn't know, this Gerstlauer spinning coaster in Japan was the first one to feature an inversion. But before you get to the actual ride layout, you play a rhythm game because those are extremely popular in Japan. But it used to be a shooter, so that's something pretty interesting. Yeah, Veil of Dark. So pretty interesting. Our next question is, what is the name of the oldest operating coaster in the UK? I'll say that again. What is the name of the oldest operating roller coaster in the UK? Let me space that out. Alright, got it. It is not the Ultimate. It's not Big Dipper. Scenic Railway 808 CoasterLife got it right, and actually Eric Thomason right behind him. Scenic Railway at Dreamland is the oldest operating coaster in the UK, and it's actually at Dreamland in England, and it opened in July of 1920, so it turns 100 this year. It's too bad it's probably not going to be open by the time it actually gets to 100 years old. But yeah, it turns 100 this year, so that's pretty crazy actually. But kind of sad that it probably won't be open by its 100th anniversary, considering like the UK parks they're not expected to open before like July 4th, and they might go even longer than that. So, yeah. Okay, so our last question of this set is, Bakken in Denmark is the oldest existing amusement park in the entire world. But what year did it open? I'll say that again. Bakken in Denmark is the oldest existing amusement park in the entire world. But what year did it open? Now, if you don't know this, yeah, your mind's gonna be blown. 1500s, 1584. That is really close. Like, that is insanely close, Coaster Lover 2001. I mean, I probably gave away the answer, but, yeah, 1583. That is correct, which is insane. It is 437 years old. That is crazy. I assume I did my math right on that one. Yeah, I did. But yeah, that's just hard to believe. And of course, they have Ruche Banan, the classic wooden coaster that opened in 1932, and Tornado, a launched Intamin spinning coaster that is said to be extremely intense. So that's pretty cool. Stamford Bridge said something that looked interesting earlier. The dirty secret about that coaster is it has suffered arson attacks and been largely rebuilt. Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. So, I mean, I could kind of understand, I guess, if you thought, like, another coaster was actually the oldest, but, we'll just, that's just kind of, it's considered, I guess, to be the oldest operating in the UK. So yeah. It was like some sort of fair or something weird, but I don't exactly know exactly what it was all the way back then, but it was definitely a lot different than it is now. I can tell you that much. Yeah, it was before the United States even existed. Pretty crazy. Um, Tornado is not launched. It has a fast lift hill. I've heard arguments for that. Yes, technically it does use a booster. Booster. I believe a booster wheel lift. Is that correct? Yeah. So some people consider that to be a launch. Some people consider that to be an extremely fast lift hill. I could understand either way. I just call it a launch because it seemed like it. Um, but yeah, I understand what you're saying. Ghost Rider used to suck. You know, I wrote it when I was a CCI, and I mean, I wasn't like I hadn't written that many like coasters at the time, but I thought it was actually pretty fun. Was it really rough? Yes, but it was still like a fun ride. I think definitely not as good as it is now though. Rushmanon has a wild double dip. Yeah, that's not. It looks pretty good. The ride in general. I wonder what Bakken looked like back then. Yeah, it would be interesting. There's actually, I think, paintings of it. It's pretty insane. Like, that's how old it is. There are literally paintings, I think, of it that exist. It's pretty crazy. Um, Bakken started as a fair around a water spring. Yeah, that sounds about right. Um, El Toro in Finland. Is that the country it's in? I actually didn't know that. The GCI coaster called El Toro. I wasn't sure what country it was in, but that's cool. Looks like a good GCI. Around Bakken was a deer park slash hunting ground. Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, that makes El Toro's in Germany. Oh, okay, that makes yeah. I was about to say I'm like, I like. I was like I didn't know that it was in Finland. Yeah, now you guys that now that you guys say it's in Germany, yeah, that makes a lot more sense, I guess. Because I wasn't sure if it was. But yeah, okay, it's still pretty cool. Um, let's see. You know what? I'm just looking at the time. Would you guys be okay if I did the next set of trivia questions? Because I usually have 3 sets of 5, but this time I actually have 4 sets of 5. So, um, if you guys are okay with me doing the next set of trivia, I'll like just do that right now. So, Coaster Mania, you're up for it. That's good. All right, looks like Rings of Earth is up for it. Okay, I think we're gonna do it then. All right, so we'll go for the third set of the questions and the last set of the questions that actually have to do with I guess roller coasters, like roller coasters around the world, because the last set is something different that I hope to be implementing in future live streams, but I'm gonna just kind of test it here and see what you guys think of it. But I'll explain that more when I get there. All right, so at number 11, this question is: what is the name of the first Gerstlauer Eurofighter? I'll say that again. What is the name of the first Gerstlauer Eurofighter? I think this one will be relatively easy. Vild Spinit got Coaster Lover 2001 got it. He did spell it wrong, but I'm not really gonna blame him for that. Eric Thomason also got it. Stamford Bridge, yeah, everyone's getting it. Vild Spinit at Bon Bon Land in Denmark, which is the same park where you can find the infamous dog fart coaster and a million other weird things about it. Um, that park is pretty strange, for sure. Definitely one I would love to visit though, just because it's so different from a lot of the other parks I've heard of and seen videos of. Alrighty, so our next question is: how many wooden roller coasters are operating in the UK? I'll say that again. How many wooden roller coasters are operating in the UK? This answer might surprise some people. It is not 3. Um, Rings of Earth got it. It is 10. There are 10 wooden roller coasters that are operating in the UK. And so basically, I guess the ones that operate in the UK, if you were wondering, is Cuckoo Lane counted in on that list? Actually, it's... Oh, shoot. That would... Wait, hold on. I need to look at something real quick. No, Cuckoo Lane is not in here because I just looked it up. It's where it is not part of the UK, so it is not part of the yeah, it's not part of the UK, so it's not an account. And if you were wondering what the specific wooden coasters are in the UK, they are Scenic Railway at Dreamland, Big Dipper at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, Roller Coaster at Great Yarmouth Pleasure Beach, Nickelodeon Streak also at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, Blue Flyer also at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, and Grand National, which is also at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. They also have, I'm sorry if I mispronounce this, Tyrolean Tub Twist, which is a miniature Virginia reel coaster with spinning cars, or a ride that's like kind of similar to a Virginia reel at Joyland Children's Fun Park. Antelope at Gulliver's Warrington, Megaphobia at Oakwood, and Wicker Man at Alton Towers. Honestly, Megaphobia I think may actually be the best of all of them. That ride looks so good. If any of you have ridden Megaphobia, tell me what that's like, because that ride, it looks pretty awesome to me. Definitely seems underrated, but it's in Wales, so it's kind of hard to, yeah. So, okay, I'm gonna go for the next question now. And this one, I bet a bunch of you are gonna get this. Which roller coaster in Japan features the most inversions? I'll say that again. Which roller coaster in Japan features the most inversions? So, yeah, I'll let you guys have time to answer that. It's not Ijanika. Some people might argue that, and I guess okay. So I don't mean like rotations, because I know some people would say Arashi, but it's not always consistent, so we're not counting that. So Coaster Key got it right, Takabisha, and yeah, so Takabisha is the roller coaster in Japan that features the most inversion, I guess elements I should have said, because some people might have said Ijanika and Arashi, but Takabisha does indeed have the most inversions with 7, and I'm seeing that some people saying that it's very similar to Rampage. I also think that Rampage looks really good, so yeah, I could kind of tell the resemblance. Okay, so for number 14, our second to last question, it is how many roller coasters currently operate at Lagoon in Utah? So ignoring Primordial, because that hasn't opened yet, how many roller coasters currently operate at Lagoon in Utah? Okay, Coaster Lover 2001, Eric Thomason, and Rings of Earth, probably everybody is getting this right. 10 is the correct answer. And so I guess that'll lead us into our last question, which is, what state is GCI based in? I'll say that again. What state is GCI based in? Or, yeah, so... Rings of Earth, Coaster Lover 2001, 808 Coaster Life, and Eric Thomason all got it right. It's Pennsylvania. And they aren't too far off from Hershey Park, which is pretty interesting. I believe they're just barely over an hour away, so that's pretty interesting. Probably why you saw Wildcat, as like Wildcat was the first GCI wooden coasters. Yeah, it's in Sunbury, Pennsylvania. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So once again, you guys can ask me questions, or give me things to discuss before we get into our final questions. And actually, before we do that, I guess I'll do this now. I was expecting maybe, because last week there was like a lot of people who kind of jumped on here around this time. Obviously different, it's a different, I guess, weekend, so maybe stuff like that doesn't happen, but I was kind of hoping that we would have like more like, I guess around 15-ish people on here, but I guess I can do this now. Um, I want to shout out some coaster YouTube channels that they are really close to hitting a goal. So I'm just gonna do that right now. So if you guys aren't subscribed to these channels, definitely make sure to check them out. However, I imagine that most of you are probably subscribed to these channels, so I'll just kind of give them a shout out. First one, Itai Coaster Fanatic. If you haven't subscribed to him, his channel is awesome. He recently did a really good, I guess, Kumba review. If you haven't seen it, it was really good. And he is less than 30 subscribers away from hitting 1,000 subscribers. And if you don't know him, he is a coaster enthusiast from Florida. And like I said, he has made some awesome videos here in the past. And his Kumba review, which was his most recent video, was really well done. So if you haven't seen his channel yet, definitely make sure to subscribe. All the channels, I believe I left a link to in the description. So actually, I will, yeah, good point there, Stamford Bridge. I'm gonna say the name, put the names in the chat and a link. So I'm gonna do that for everyone I mention, because that probably would make things like easiest. Okay, so here's a link to his channel. I hope it works, but like I said, an awesome channel if you haven't checked him out yet. So yeah, and like I said, he's almost to 1,000, so let's try to get him there. Another channel I had on here, Jace and his channel 808 Coaster Life. I know Jace, you're already on here, but his channel basically, it is less than 30 subscribers away from hitting 1,000 as well, and his channel is also really awesome. His editing is top notch, and he just released a video on an extended premiere, like a concept of a Premiere Skyrocket 2, an extended layout, which I thought was really cool. So definitely make sure to check out his channel, and I'll also put that here in the chat. Like I said, if you don't, I guess, have the time to do it right here in the chat, I do have the links in the description below. But yeah, definitely make sure to subscribe to these channels because they are all really awesome in my opinion. So definitely, like I said, and like for me, when I was close to 1,000 subs, that was like such a big deal for me, and hitting that mark, it was such a big deal for me. Some people thought it was for the monetization. Not really. It was just a goal that I like wanted, a numbers goal. So yeah. Okay. So the next one I'll talk about is I just have two more, so I'm not like gonna do a bunch of these if you guys were wondering, because I just want to do channels that are close to a certain goal, because that's or just ones I feel that are underrated. Another one that is less than 100 subscribers away from 1,000 is Theme Park Hunting. His I guess videos recently have been amazing, really good, and he just did a video on the I guess story behind Big Bad Wolf, which was really awesome. And then he did an interesting video on if like the possibility of RMC going bankrupt. And at first I looked at the title, I'm like, I don't really see it happening, but he actually does bring up some really interesting points in the video. And it seems like the single rail coasters, if you actually think about it, haven't really been as much of a success as RMC would have hoped. So that is something interesting. Reaction videos aren't your thing. He does a lot of videos outside of reactions. Like the stuff he has outside of that are the videos he has outside of that are really good. So even if you're not necessarily a fan of like a certain series or a certain video, he has a lot of other ones that I think are really interesting. So once again, I'll put the link here in the chat. So you guys, if you haven't subscribed yet, can do that. And then our last one, I did this more because like this channel, I think he's really underrated, rather than he was close to a goal. However, he is actually pretty close to hitting 500 subscribers. But basically, One of the more underrated coaster channels, at least that I've seen, at least recently, is Roller Coaster David. His Coasting Into series is really good, and also the 3 videos he did for the exploring virtual theme parks, or I'm sorry, exploring theme parks in virtual reality was really good. It was really incredible to just kind of see that. So his channel, if you haven't subscribed, really underrated. And I'll put that here in the chat because I wouldn't be surprised if maybe some of you haven't subscribed. Like I said, I guess, hold on, I need to copy the link here. Okay. But like I said, I kind of I've known about him for a while, but I've just kind of been watching his stuff more recently, and I definitely want to check out like more of his videos when I have the time. But yeah, that channel is really underrated, so definitely make sure to check it out. He deserves a lot more subscribers than he has, in my opinion. His channel's really awesome. So those are all the channels I'm shouting out, I guess, for this stream this week. Make sure to subscribe to all of them. If you missed it in the chat, you can always go look in the description and subscribe there. I have all the links there. And I'm trying to think, what was... oh yeah, your guys' questions. I guess I might need to backtrack. Actually, I guess there's not too many here. Okay, so I'm trying to think where to go here because it's 7:05. There's still quite a decent amount of time. A lot of people are leaving, so I'm gonna wait for some people to come back to do like the, I guess, last 5 questions. Actually, I guess I'll explain what is happening with the last 5 questions. So basically, making these questions about like the coaster related, like coasters around the world, parks around the world, stuff like that. It's really hard for me to do, and I'm trying to find a way if I'm still gonna be doing these live streams weekly, which I am planning to, at least for the foreseeable future. I'm trying to plan like how I'm gonna like pace myself because I don't want to run out of questions. That would just kind of not be a good thing. But basically, I'm planning to kind of split it up and add more questions about me and my channel because I think that kind of makes sense because you guys are my viewers or my subscribers. So I think it would be good for me to incorporate that here. And basically, every question I ask, I have said something or kind of answered this sort of question in a video prior, whether it was like I just mentioned it in a review or something of that sort, or I mentioned it in one of my Q&As. All these questions I ask here in the live stream, I have answered in some way, shape, or form in the past. So just kind of we'll experiment that here in a few minutes. Hopefully when more people come back, because I know some people were saying, or I think at least a person or two were saying that they'll be back. Oh, Coaster Mania, you're back. So I'll do that in a few minutes here. But you left the link for the new swing ride, really? I don't see it. I don't see it. Did you leave it like a lot earlier? I don't see it anywhere. Yeah, I can't see it. Sorry. But yeah, basically right now, like you can just ask questions. I'll look into it. I'll look into it when I have time because I'm sure there actually is a thing. I mean, no one is like saying that there's not. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that there probably is a swing ride. I'm a little surprised by hearing that, but that's pretty cool. But yeah, just ask me questions, anything to discuss. Obviously, the news stuff earlier, if you want me to talk a little more on that, we can go into that in about, I guess, 8 minutes. I'll start our last set of questions and pretty much wrap up the stream. So that's just kind of how I'm going to go from here, I guess. Actually, I've been trying to implement this, I guess, more into my streams. I wanted to ask some of you guys questions. So, Arrow suspended coasters, though this is a model that really intrigues me, especially like some of the defunct ones. I'm curious, you guys in the chat, what Arrow suspended coasters have you ridden? Whether they're defunct or still existing, and what are your thoughts on like either a favorite or a least favorite of them? Just something I'd like to see here in the chat. if you guys have ridden that. Only ridden Ninja. Like I said, for Ninja, I've had good and bad rides on it. I'd actually say I prefer Iron Dragon, just, I guess, because I didn't really ever have a bad ride on that. Even though I would agree that Ninja is more intense. Although I will say that Iron Dragon does have a pretty intense second half, at least more intense than what I was expecting. So I do like that ride quite a bit, and also it goes over the lake, which is pretty cool. Ninja is also pretty fun. Like during my good rides, it's been pretty good. Not really anything breathtaking, but they're fun rides. So that's kind of my thought. But something like Big Bad Wolf or Eagle's Fortress, especially, would have been like something I think that would have really been something special. Yeah, Ninja ends with a lift hill. That is kind of annoying, actually. A lot of rides at Magic Mountain, just the criticism is they all like have weird, either like a lot of them either have like weird endings or just something weird that's like a total buzzkill. Like Airtime Thrills, he released that video a while back. The Ninja lift hill is a pretty big buzzkill, I guess, in my opinion. It's just you go up a lift hill and that's it. And then Goliath's mid-course brake run, just oh my god. And Full Throttle's brakes on the drop is just atrocious. Yeah. You've ridden Bat, Iron Dragon, and Vortex is the best. Vortex, out of the existing ones, I think it looks like the best, like, easily. You've ridden Iron Dragon in the Bat at Kings Island. Iron Dragon is pretty fun and kind of underrated. In the Bat is super fun and re-rideable, albeit a little short. Yeah, the brake on Full Throttle's drop is just, why did they do it? It just frustrates me so much. Like that ride, if they like just extend the layout a little bit longer and we got that drop, it would probably be like higher in my rankings, at least like a spot or two. Like that it just ends on such a bad note. It's just I don't get it. Why that had to happen. I think someone brought up something like for Full Throttle, it would have been cool to like see them do maybe Airtime Thrills did bring it up in this video. I don't know. I heard this somewhere. Someone was like maybe they could have done it where Full Throttle could have had like an overbank and it went through the loop one more time and then went back into the station. That would have been pretty awesome. Like imagine that you go through the vertical loop, obviously, which is amazing because the hang time's awesome. You go over it and get some pretty awesome airtime, and then you go through it. That would have been literally like perfect. And then you would have gotten that like awesome drop. So I really wish they did that. That would have been such a good idea, I think, if they had actually done that. And yeah. Oh, also, unpopular opinion, but I honestly think Iron Dragon is pretty close to Valraven in terms of quality. Sometimes I actually debate if I would have Iron Dragon over Valraven, so yeah, that's something pretty interesting. I wonder if anyone here is going to disagree with me on that. But like, they're like pretty much neck and neck for me in my overall rankings, so yeah, even though they're totally different rides, but it's just Valraven really didn't impress me. And Iron Dragon did actually. It was a pretty fun ride, so yeah. Yeah, that ending would be I mean, it wouldn't be like the most crazy intense thing ever, but it would just it would feel right, I think. Yeah. I think it would be awesome. Man. Yeah, what could have been. Vampire at Chessington is supposed to be pretty good. Yeah, I've heard it's pretty good. I don't know that it looks better than Vortex at Canada's Wonderland, but yeah, it could be pretty good. Hopefully these rides don't go away, but I don't have the best feeling about Iron Dragon. I mean, I'm sure there's other coasters at Cedar Point that are gonna go first before Iron Dragon, but I think it's somewhere on the chopping block. I just kind of get that feeling. So 713. I guess yeah. I'll go do the final 10 questions. Oh, not 10. Sorry, final 5 questions. And like I said, with this set, this is gonna be more about me, and my channel, and like I said, it's just something I'm experimenting. If you guys don't like this, then just straight up tell me. Because it's just I'm trying to figure out a way. How do I, like I guess not run out of questions for the other things. So, all right. So basically, like I said, these questions are gonna about me and my channel, and I've answered these in video or some way, shape, or form before. So with that said, let's get right into this. And some of these are coaster related, and some of these are not. So I'll do that. Okay, so what is my number one roller coaster? What is my number one roller coaster? That is the first question. I figured that a lot of you will pretty much figure this out. I'm actually curious if some of you will say something because okay, I'm actually surprised that a lot of you are getting this right because I would have figured that because some people still think that X2 is my number one. Like some people are like, "Oh, is X2 still your number one?" No. So yeah, Steel Vengeance. It's good to see that all of you guys got that right. And I'm not backing off of that like one bit. I know some people are like saying now that like Steel Vengeance is not even that good. It's still my number one coaster, and it probably will be until I ride like something like El Toro. I'm trying to think of the other Ejanica, Lightning Rod. Those could compete maybe with it, and probably also maybe DC Rivals and the new Wallaby Belgium Mega Coaster could be up there too. But right now it is Steel Vengeance, and I don't think that's gonna not be taken out anytime soon. So the second question is, what is the name of the first podcast I was ever a part of? I'll say that again. What is the name of the first podcast I was ever a part of? So, you can't hear, you're having issues. We're not lagging, are we? No, I'm not. I haven't been on Talking Trimless yet, so. I wasn't on your favorite Coaster Sucks. No, I haven't been on either of those, actually. Coasters and Toasters. 808 Coaster Life got it right. Believe I sent this out in a community tab, and my last live stream I mentioned it. But Coasters and Toasters, that is from Thrill Central, and that is the first and so far only podcast I've been a part of. I was part of the first 2 episodes they've done, so if you want to check that out, you can. I should have had the link to that. I guess. But yeah, basically Thrill Central's podcast, Coasters and Toasters. That was the first one I've been a part of. So yeah, if you guys didn't know, I haven't been on Talking Trimless, and I haven't been on Your Favorite Coaster Sucks. In Coaster Radio, I haven't been on that either. So none of those. But Talking Trimless is really good. I've seen or heard a lot of episodes from that. And then Angelo Giles, his podcast, I also like quite a bit. There's other ones I haven't heard yet, so like, yeah. Yeah. Alright, so the third question I have is, and I did actually mention this in a video, so even though this is kind of obscure, I did mention this in a video, and this question is, what was the first roller coaster I ever rode that was outside of the state of California? A little specific because my home state's California, but I'll say that again. What was the first roller coaster I ever rode that was outside of the state of California? So that'll be interesting. I don't know that any of you guys will get that. Twister, I haven't even ridden a Twister, so Iron Dragon, no, it's not Iron Dragon. That was my first coaster at Cedar Point, so you're on the, like, that was kind of, I can understand that. Was it in Six Flags Mexico? Actually, it was not, so no, it was not Medusa Steel Coaster. I'll give you a hint. It was in the United States, so, because I know it was in the United States. And, also, this ride, I don't think any of you guys are going to get it, but I'll give you, like, 15 more seconds. I haven't ridden Air Grover. It is not at Cedar Point. The hint I'll give you is this coaster is now defunct. And when I mentioned it, it was in a video that was more, I guess, informational, I guess. I mentioned it in my Coasters of State series. So, yeah. So, this coaster is now defunct. and I mentioned it in my Coasters of State series. I don't think any of you guys are gonna get it. It's pretty difficult. I would have been surprised, but figured I'd put in a hard question because why not? I haven't ridden Dragon Challenge. I would have loved to, but I haven't, sadly. Alright, so no one's got it. I'm just going to tell you guys right now. It was Minor Mike at Adventure Dome. And I know that's kind of random, but if you watch my Coasters of Nevada video, I did mention that it was the first roller coaster I rode that was outside of the state. The only thing is I realized I said it was defunct. I mean, I guess since it's just a random kiddie coaster, probably you guys didn't know that, but yeah, no, it wasn't Dragon Challenge. I never rode it, which is pretty sad, but yeah. So I said my first coaster outside of California was Minor Mike at Adventure Dome. If you guys missed that. So the fourth question is, and this one is totally not coaster related, and I have mentioned this I think at least a few times. What is my favorite fast food restaurant? I'll say that again. What is my favorite fast food restaurant? So there you guys go. And being from California, I think some of you guys are gonna actually be surprised with this, but we'll just kind of see what you guys say. I never got to ride Speed the Ride. I think I went to Vegas. I think it may have still been around, but I don't remember seeing it, honestly. But yeah. It is not McDonald's, it's not Wendy's, it is not Burger King. I figured some people would say In-N-Out. It is not, and I have an unpopular opinion, but I actually do not think that In-N-Out is that good. Like, I mean, it's good, but like, there's some other like fast food restaurants I'd rather go to. And it's just super overrated in my opinion. Like some people pretend, or not pretend, sorry, think that it's the greatest thing ever, and it's not. It's not KFC, it's not Jack in the Box. The surf thing at I haven't even been to Belmont Park. I was hoping to go over like recently, but didn't happen. Arby's, no. Taco Bell. You guys are gonna be surprised. You guys are really gonna be surprised with what it is because Carl's Jr. No. I mean, it is a big fast food chain. I'm surprised no one's just thought of it. Five Guys, no. Like if you guys don't get this, my mind's gonna be blown, because even if you don't remember necessarily like what it was, it's not Burger King, it's not Checkers. I don't even know what that is. Chick-fil-A, there it is. Stamford Bridge got it. Yes, we do have Chick-fil-A's in. Believe it or not, we do have them in California. If you thought that we didn't, yes, we do. In my city, we only have two, and there really should be more. Yeah, that is my favorite fast food restaurant. And the reason it kind of feeds into why I think In-N-Out's overrated, because it's just, there's the Chick-fil-A that exists, like the one I mostly go to in my city, it's in the same parking lot as In-N-Out, and there's also a Chipotle like down like far away, which I guess it's debatable whether that's fast food or not. But it's just like my friends, whenever they want to eat something around there, it's like In-N-Out, and I'm like, oh, you literally have Chick-fil-A, and Chipotle's not too far down. That's like the two places I'd rather go to. And then like there's always like the longest line seems to be for In-N-Out, although Chick-fil-A always has like a long drive-through as well. So pretty crazy. And actually In-N-Out, a lot of their restaurants are in like locations where there's like a much better, I think, restaurant. So Chick-fil-A slaps. Yeah, Chick-fil-A is good, especially the sandwiches. I like the sandwiches. The chicken nuggets I also like. You'd think that Chick-fil-A is kind of eh. I could understand that. I was watching, I think, Talking Trimless episode recently, and I think Hunter said something like that Chick-fil-A is overrated. I could kind of see that, but for me, like, it's kind of underrated where I am, sort of, because In-N-Out exists, and In-N-Out is, like, the thing, I guess, even, like, for people that live in my city. It's, like, so many people like it. It's insane, and I'm like, it's really not that good. Like, would I have it over McDonald's and Burger King? Sure. But is it really anything that amazing? No, not really. I really like Chick-fil-A, so, yeah. Alright, I guess I rambled along too long. So here's the last question I have, and I actually haven't, I have mentioned this, I think, before, especially, I think, if you follow my social media and stuff, like Instagram, which I do, I think have a link in the description. Yeah, I do. But you may not know this. Actually, 808 Coaster Life probably does, so don't answer this question, Jace, please. Because I think other people won't know this. So, the fifth question, the final question is, what is my first name? I just kind of threw this in there because I was curious. Because I know, like, some people, like you guys refer to Taylor from Coaster. You call Taylor, well, you call Coaster Series Taylor, so yeah. Uh, and other coaster channels, like, you actually call them by the first name. So I kind of want to have this for me as well. But yeah, it looks like I haven't done a very good job with this, considering the first few guesses. I don't even know how to pronounce Aloysius. That is definitely not my name. It is not Paul. It's not Dave. Yeah, you guys aren't gonna get this, I don't think. Because it's definitely not a normal name. In fact, I'm going to. It does not start with a D. It is not Ethan. It is a bit of an obscure name, but I have mentioned it, I'm pretty sure, in a video in the past. I feel like I have. And then obviously my Instagram, I probably, like, I think I still have it on there. Uh, but yeah. No, another coaster enthusiast does not have this name. At least not one that I know of. You know what? No one's gonna get this. There's no way. So, I'm just gonna type it out and I'll explain. Okay, so my first name is Carrick, and that is basically, you pronounce that like Eric, but with a C or a K in front of it. So, like I said, Eric, but like with C or K, so that's Carrick, and that is my first name. I think I've mentioned this in a Q&A or something. I feel like I mentioned it something somewhere. But yeah, if you didn't know that, that's my first name. And yeah, it also in coasters and toasters. Yeah, it was also mentioned there. I kind of want it to be like people call me that as well, because I know I like see a lot of people refer to Taylor from Coaster Studios as Taylor, not Coaster Studios, and a lot of other channels like Micah from Coaster Frenzy, Zach from Theme Park Media. Uh, yeah, that does rhyme with mine. Like Chris from Maritime Thrills. Like, there's like a bunch of them, and I kind of want to get to where like my name's like just kind of tied to my channel as well, where people aren't necessarily calling me Coaster Hour. Especially when I go to parks, it's just kind of like. Actually, I'm curious. How do you guys refer to people, like, if you've met a YouTuber at a park? Do you refer to them by their channel name or their actual name? I'm just kind of curious. That's just a question I have. Because when I saw Taylor at Knott's Berry Farm, I called him Taylor, so just curious. I figure you would use their actual name, but I know some people are different. Yeah, actual name. That's what I tend to go with. Yep, Coaster Hour, literally there, right? This. You know, my plan for this Coaster Hour name, I guess, like, one of the ideas I had with it was like, well, when I do live streams eventually, I'll do 1 hour live streams and just call, and it's just like feeds into, I guess, the name of the channel. But obviously they go longer for an hour. I think an hour is just a little too short, so you feel like it depends on the scenario. Yeah, I think it would kind of too. But yeah, I generally try to go with, like, I could kind of see why you could go either way with that. It's just something I was curious with, because I actually haven't met too many coaster YouTubers. In fact, actually, like, inside of parks, I think Taylor's the only coaster YouTuber I ever actually like talked to for even a little bit. I did see Drew from Parks Bros, but he was about to get on hang time with Taylor, so couldn't really talk to him there. And I was like doing my own thing at Knott's. It was actually more coincidence that I was there on the same day. But if there is a group, I'd call them. Yeah, okay. If there is a group, yeah, definitely. That would definitely be a case where, like, a group with, I guess, like, a group as if, like, there's like multiple people who work on the channel. Oh yeah, and also like more. Yeah, that would make sense. But when I saw Taylor, he was just filming like by himself, and the other people, I forget. The other people that were with him were somewhere else. Um, I was so ready for one of your trivia questions to be about your hometown. I almost thought about asking what is my home city, but I feel like I always mention it in my live streams, and I figured I'd probably mention it before um, I actually got to the question, so that's why I didn't think about it. But yeah, if it's Chris or Taylor, yeah, but if it's a GP2 enthusiast or someone who's okay, yeah, if their name isn't that well known, then yeah, um, but yeah, I understand that. Like, I wouldn't do it if they didn't, if they haven't like uh put their name out there in any shape or form, or they hardly have, then I just wouldn't do it. But obviously, there's some people who do. But yeah, I just this kind of weird thing, but I just rather people call me by my actual name rather than Coaster Hour. I mean, either one works, but yeah. Your full first name is Thomas Joseph, but you go by Tommy. That works. Yeah, that's just perfect. Yeah. Okay, so it's close to 7:30. Any final questions or things you want to discuss, you can ask them or talk about it here. And then in about, I'll say, we'll go 10, 11 minutes from now. Um, I'll probably end the stream. So, yeah. It's 10:30 in Massachusetts. Yeah. Your Eastern Standard Time. I thought about going earlier, but I don't know. Flaherty, I'm sorry, I have such a hard time saying his last name, is amazing. Once anyone mentions their real name to him, he'll remember it. Yeah, he seems like a really great guy, honestly. Like, I've been in the same, like, I think, live chats with him, and he's like, said, like, hello to me, which, yeah, you're definitely right about that. And I saw his episode with in Talking Trimless. That was really cool, actually. He has a lot of, I guess, sort of like knowledge that I wouldn't have thought he had, and it's really, and he's experienced so many different things. It's like, really cool, actually. He seems like a great guy, so yeah, that's definitely for sure. Have you thought about going live on your Instagram account so that you could feature guests in your live streams? I've thought about doing Instagram live. The thing about it is, I actually, you know what? I guess why not? I'll put the link here. Hold on. I'm gonna put the link in the, I guess, chat here. So if people haven't, I guess, followed it, they can. Um, Hopefully that link works. Okay, so uh, Instagram Live, I've thought about it, but I have like less than 300 followers on there, or I'm like really close, but I basically have less than 300, so I haven't done that yet. I guess I'll try to maybe promote it more. I'm not sure exactly, but yeah, it's definitely something I've thought about, and yeah, having guests in my live streams, that would be something I'd really like to do actually, because like it'd be pretty cool to do, I think. So definitely am something I'm looking into. You would follow me, but you don't have Instagram. Yeah, I know some people don't have it. That's the other thing. It's like, it's a lot more people who like watch my stuff. Well, obviously they have YouTube accounts and they don't necessarily have Instagram accounts. So that's just kind of the other thing. But I mean, yeah, that's just kind of how it is. Thoughts on can? Oh wait, hold on. I'm skipping stuff. Sorry. I'm about to say something, and I'm serious. In the next couple of years, 2022 through 2025, Six Flags Darien Lake needs to arm the Predator. They actually should. That'd be amazing. Will it happen? I don't know, but definitely something they should do. Thoughts on Canamonium or Pantheon? I want to go to Hershey this year, but COVID. Yeah. Um, Okay, so for Candemonium, when it first got announced, I was a little low on it, but after seeing the testing and all this stuff, I guess, I think that it's going to be one of the best B&M Hypers ever built. Um, so it looks really awesome. I haven't ridden a B&M Hyper yet, so maybe it'll be the first one I ride. Who knows? Of course, if Great America ever gets their Hyper, that would probably be the first one, but we'll see. Maybe not. Maybe it'll be something completely different. But yeah, Candemonium looks awesome. And Pantheon is really interesting. Like, it could be... I think it'll probably be a top 50 coaster in the world at least, but this ride has the potential to be like one of Intamin's best. It's just hard to say. It's just because like it's just such a, I guess, more unique ride. I guess compared to their other Blitz coasters, it'll be really interesting to like ride it when it opens eventually. They're pretty far behind on that as far as I'm aware. Usually you're sad to lose a Woody, but if RMC announced it was RMC and Predator, I'd feel nothing but happiness. Yeah, I think a lot of people would too. Like I more recently I've kind of been on the fence about RMC, like I guess conversions. There's a few rides that I think really need it, like Predator and Grizzly at California's Great America. I mean, that ride just sucks. So I think that would be one I'd be really happy if they RMC'd it. Um, but I can kind of understand because there's less than 200 wooden coasters. Roar at Six Flags America, I guess. I've heard like pretty bad things about it. Honestly, I heard that Roar at Six Flags America should have been RMC'd instead of the one at Discovery Kingdom. I actually like the one at Discovery Kingdom. Um, that one, yeah, too. There's like a few out there that are definitely like, yeah, they definitely need to be RMC'd. But then there's like rides like Wildcat where it's like at Hershey Park. Yeah, it would be probably like it isn't a great ride, but I feel like if GCI retracking would probably just be a lot better for it. And I'd also like to see like an RMC ground up creation at Hershey Park rather than a conversion of Wildcat, because in my opinion, if you do a retracking of Wildcat, you'll have a pretty solid supporting coaster, and if they got an RMC ground up coaster or even like a GCI hybrid ground up, I think that would be like just like the best thing that could happen rather than just like an RMC hybrid of Roar, which honestly might be one of the weaker RMCs if it were to exist. So that's just kind of how I feel on it. They said they were closing it in 2018. Yeah, there was like some things. There's been like some rumors in the past, and then Predator, back when Six Flags I guess didn't have it, that was rumored too. That's just kind of sad how neither of those have happened because both of those definitely could are up there. I think honestly, I think those three coasters, unless I'm like forgetting another like really bad wooden coaster here in the U.S., are probably like the only ones I really care to see. I think get RMC'd. Um, what international RMC conversions could happen? There's I think a few. I think like Bandit is like a popular one that people bring up, but yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, Coaster Craziness, you're here. Hi. Hi. I'm going to end the stream in like just a few minutes, but if you have any questions or anything you want me to talk about, um, yeah, you can ask them right now. But the stream's about to be over, so yeah, in a few minutes. How do I like Grizzly at California's Great America? It sucks. It is not good. I'm not even going to. I mean, this ride is just. What is even the point? I really don't understand the point of this ride. Um, the drops are just. I've thought about doing a review because this ride is pure garbage. Like, it's not even that rough. It's a little bit rough, and actually, that's probably the best thing about it because if it wasn't at least a little bit rough, it would have been so boring. Like, the drops feel like going down like a hill in a car. Like it's like just it's not that interesting. And the airtime hills or any moment that you think you might get airtime, you don't even get a hint of it. It's just so bad. There's no forces on it either, too. It's just like, I mean, if it were at least forceful, that would have been something, but it's not. Honestly, Taxi Jam might be more forceful than Grizzly. It's not a good coaster. I might review it just because it's that bad. I mean, is it the worst coaster in the entire world? No. Is it my least favorite coaster? No, but it's certainly up there. It's just terrible. It needs to be RMC. Like there's no way around that. Like that ride is just bad. Um Okay, so Thoughts on Rob Alvey? I'm not gonna go into that. I actually don't have much of an opinion on him because I am not too familiar with like some of the things that people think maybe are more controversial and stuff. So I don't really have much of an opinion there, anyways. Um, Ghost Rider is amazing. Uh, Even as a CCI, it was good. So, or at least somewhat decent. So, they need a B&M hype. They don't need a B&M hyper. They need RMC Grizzly hype. That's not gonna happen because of the amount of space they have. And some people are like, well, Grizzly, it would. Yeah, if Grizzly's roughness was taken away, it'd be Mammoth at Trips. Oh my god, that ride looks so boring, and I've heard it's so boring. Really weirdly smooth, but no sign of any airtime at all. It's a cruise. Yeah, I just like if they retract it, what would it do? It would just it I probably would make it worse. Like I just there's nothing they can do. They either need to take it down or RMC it. Even if it's like the absolute worst RMC, it'd be like just such a huge upgrade over the ride they have. I mean, even if it was like the worst RMC, it would still be top three in the park, I think. Actually, easily, for sure. So they definitely need to get on that when they can. Would making Grizzly unbearably rough make it better? I guess it would make it more memorable, although it's such a bland ride. It's like probably the most bland ride I've ever ridden that somehow it actually is memorable because how just utterly bland it is. It's so hard to explain, but the ride is just um, Thunderbolt at Six Flags New England is so boring. Grizzly looks better. Haven't looked too much into Thunderbolt, but I can tell you, I highly doubt it. Grizzly was known as being one of the worst coasters in the entire world for a reason. It may not be like unbearably rough, although some people did claim it was. It was really not. I rode in the back row. It wasn't. It's not that. It's not even that rough. It's just a little bit. Um, it's a dumb ride. It's like what I would have thought of kind of my thoughts on Goliath, but like super over exaggerated pretty much. Because at least Goliath, there's like that one hill where you get, and I'm referring to Goliath at Magic Mountain. There's at least that one hill where you get a bit of airtime, and even though the mid course brake run does brake really hard, there is still some intensity to the second half. So it's not completely pointless, but like Grizzly is literally the most pointless thing in existence. And some people are like, oh, it'd be a good family coaster. It has a 48-inch height requirement. Like, it can't even really be. So, like, it's just dumb. Doesn't make any sense. Just not a good ride at all. Um, just, yeah. How do I like Raptor at Cedar Point? It's my favorite B&M invert I've ever ridden, and it's in my top 20 overall, so I think it's really awesome. Um, didn't find it to be that. Actually, the headbanging was pretty minimal on my ride, and I got a ride in the back row. It was pretty awesome, so that's just my thoughts on it. Have you gone on Railblazer? If so, how do you rank it? So, in my overall rankings, I'm actually forgetting. I think, yeah, I have it at number 10 in my overall ranking. Um, and here's the thing, it is a great ride. The airtime is super strong and it is super intense. The pacing's exceptional, but the ending's a little lackluster in my opinion. Like, um, I mean, you get all these insane airtime moments, and then you end off with uh, a cutback that isn't that good, in my opinion. Easily the weakest part of the ride. A corkscrew that's pretty solid, but just not the greatest inversion in the world. And then the overbank, yeah, it's pretty intense, but it's just not to the level of craziness that the other elements have. So, I mean, and you do get that pretty good pop of airtime into the brakes, but it's just, I don't know, it was a little disappointing in that sense. Also, the restraints, they do hurt a little bit, but I don't think that hurts the ride that much. It doesn't bother me that it's a short ride, because if a ride's short but it ends like well, I won't really care. But I mean, Railblazer, it could have ended better in my opinion. Like Jersey Devil, that ending looks fantastic, and yeah, I mean the dive loop, and it's not even the dive loop on Railblazer because some people have said that I don't like inversions. The dive loop on Railblazer is amazing. Yeah, you do get airtime going into it, but even like just the maneuver itself is crazy. I love that element. One of the best ones on the ride, so that's not even really it at all. So let's see what else. A lot of Thunderbolt I'm looking at. Grizzly at California's Great America sounds a lot like Mean Streak. Not very rough, but just really boring and forceless. Yeah, Mean Streak literally looks like basically a bigger, taller. It just seems like a. I mean, from a layout standpoint, I haven't looked into what the original layout was too much, but it just seems like it was one of those rides that would have been just like, just nothing really. Thoughts on Superman El Ultimo Escape? Okay, so some people think that I like it as much as I do because of El Toro Ryan's review. Well, I rode Superman El Ultimo Escape before that review ever came out, and I loved it. Like there's like I think there's even like TripAdvisor stuff because I did reviews there, and I think even a Reddit thing I did before the review happened. Maybe not, might be right or wrong, but basically, yeah, that ride, I loved it. The airtime is incredible. In the, I guess, sort of Rose Bowl section, it's actually oddly intense. So, best airtime moment is this airtime hill that comes after this, the already pretty intense turn. That moment's insane. And then the mid-course brake run for me hardly slowed the train down at all. I'm not even sure if it actually did. Maybe a little bit. Those three hills that you go through, or the three airtime moments, because not there's one that's not exactly like a full hill. Those are really good. So the ride is just incredible. The first drop isn't really anything that insane, but awesome ride. It is a little like the landing in your seat from the airtime is a little uncomfortable. That's what some people have said, and I agree with that. But it's not anything like that's that bad. So it is an amazing ride, at least in my opinion. I know some people have other opinions, but in my opinion, just amazing. Uh, the ending is out of place. Actually, on Railblazer, it is a little. There is a vibration toward the end. It didn't really take away that much, but yeah. Okay, so the dive loop is literally the best part of the ride, in my opinion. I don't know if it's mine. That off-axis airtime hill, I think, would be mine, but the dive loop is close, and also the first drop in the back row is insane. So, pretty tough competition there. Just those three elements are ridiculous, just absolutely insane. Jersey Devil's dive loop is gonna be epic. Yeah, that looks awesome. It's basically Steel Vengeance without inversions. Which ride are you referring to? Um, I let's see. Wait, why wasn't Wild Thing like that? Okay, so Okay, so the layout of like most of these other Morgan Hypers and Superman El Ultimo Escape is pretty different actually. Yeah, the finale is the same sort of, or well, the airtime sequence is kind of similar, but the mid-course brake run doesn't brake as hard, and it's just I haven't ridden the other Morgan Hypers, so I can't really say anything about them. Maybe I'd like them more than most people, but I just I don't think they would be to the level of Superman El Ultimo Escape. The only one that might be is Phantom's Revenge. That ride looks incredible. That dive loop on Jersey Devil looks like it does a little outer bank before it inverts. Yeah, that element's gonna be crazy. Do you think Jersey Devil has a chance of being better than El Toro? It may have a chance, but I don't know. Um, it's just I don't think so. I mean, El Toro looks so insane. I just can't see it. Um, I think Jersey Devil will be better than Magic Mountain's Jersey Devil clone. Uh, um, I mean, maybe Magic Mountains will have a vibration or something. Who knows? But I'm really happy that we're getting that because that ride looks so insane. The only weird thing is, I would literally have two Raptors that were like literally almost the same distance away from me. So that's just kind of weird because Great America and Magic Mountain are pretty like close in terms of distance like away from me. which kind of sucks because I'm like 2.5 hours away from each, but that's just kind of how it is. I got more airtime on some of my Wild Thing rides than I did on El Ultimo Escape. Yeah, you mentioned your rides on El Ultimo Escape. That was definitely not my experience. I for sure got some like ridiculous airtime during my rides. So yeah. It is El Ultimo Escape. That's at least how I've heard it mostly. I think it has that uh I think it has the thing at the end on the sign, so yeah. It's El Ultimo Escape, I'm pretty sure. Um, Not Escape, because some people call it El Ultimo Escape. It kind of annoys me, but that's just kind of how it is. You only have 17 credits. Well, it's a start. Actually, Coaster Key, what is your favorite coaster? I see I've gone way longer than I was supposed to. That's okay. At this point, we'll just keep going till 8 because I think I like ran it on about Grizzly for so long. But that's okay. Um, yeah, Coaster Key, no, what's your favorite coaster? I'm just curious if you have one. Um, and also, like I said, if you guys have any other questions, thoughts, let me know. Would love to review or give my thoughts on other coasters. And yeah. Where's my water? I ran out. That sucks. That's okay. Mako at SeaWorld Orlando. Okay, that's a pretty good number. Actually, considering you've only ridden 17 coasters, like for me, that would have been amazing number one because when I think by the time I rode 17 coasters, my number one was probably CCI Ghost Riders. So yeah, it was way back like 2013 or something. So yeah, I liked CCI Ghost Rider more than Accelerator and Silver Bullet at the time. I think Accelerator's a lot better than what CCI Ghost Rider was, but something interesting. Stanford Bridge says that he loves Renegade and it's his favorite GCI. It looks like probably the best one outside of Asia, in my opinion. Maybe Troy is better, but yeah, I don't even know about that. Yeah, Renegade looks insane. Um, oh, see a coaster craziness. Yeah, I'm gonna end the stream in like 10 minutes anyways. Like I'm actually going to do it unless somehow I go on a rant on another coaster. I don't think if don't ask about Coast Rider because that ride I no that ride I think I might I would have to keep myself from going on about that ride. I just really don't like it. Yeah. That looks better than any credit I have out of my 36. Yeah, Mako is your number one out of like under 20 rides. It's pretty awesome. Troy for me was a wild ride, but the airtime couldn't compete with Renegades. Yeah, Ghost Rider is number one in the world. I think if my channel gets like associated with Ghost Rider, I'll make a. I feel like I'd have to write it again, which I don't know that I'd even want to do a review of it. But like I don't know. I haven't gotten like an extremely recent ride on Coast Rider, so I feel like, yeah, Coast Rider hour. Yeah, Coast Rider. Maybe when I go to Knott's, I'll actually write it again, just so I can make like this review that's kind of a rant. That'd be interesting. That's definitely not something I would normally do, but I guess something I could do. I mean, I'm tempted to do one for Grizzly, so like, oh, I see, Coaster Mania, you sent me the thing through Discord. Okay, yeah, I'll make sure to look at that. My worst memory of Coast Rider is a very slow line in the blazing sun. Thought some people were going to pass out. Thankfully, I was able to get my rides all at night. Every ride I've literally had on Coast Rider was at night. And also, I usually had a fast lane. I think there was one day I didn't, but it was at night, so it wasn't that big of a deal. Coast Rider or Grizzly? Oh, Grizzly 100%. I mean, Coast Rider is so bad. Coast Rider is literally my least favorite coaster ever. That ride is literally the definition of how restraints can ruin a ride. I mean, it's a wild mouse, so like at best, its ceiling isn't very high. But like, oh my god, the shin guards are literally the worst thing ever. Like people complain about Sky Rush and some of these in like SLCs and stuff. No, Coast Rider, the shin guards are worse than all of them, in my opinion. I mean, it's just they should be illegal. I think 808 Coaster Life said it earlier. They should be illegal. Like, I think they had to put it because there was an incident or something or other that happened. Yeah, those should never exist. They are horrible. You've ridden 4 Wild Mice, and my favorite is Ragin' Cajun. Okay, I haven't ridden a spinning Wild Mouse coaster. I don't. But I would say out of all the Wild Mice, I guess I've ridden, my favorite would be Psycho Mouse, and that ride it has some pretty good airtime in my opinion. So it's actually a pretty good ride, and it's an arrow, so there's something cool about it. Technic coaster, I like that as well at Legoland. I don't know why. It just was a relatively comfortable experience. Um, but and then the other three I've ridden are not very good. Wild Mouse at Hershey Park is not that good. Pretty uncomfortable. In the in the back row, which was weird. My front row ride was okay, but the back row ride was terrible. 808 Coaster. Okay. See you 808 Coaster Life. See you Jace. Good to have you on here, and see you in the next stream. But Wild Mouse at Hershey Park, yeah, it's not very good. Not very good at all. And then the other ones, well, obviously Coast Rider, and then Goofy's Sky School. So when I was younger, I loved the ride because because it was like one of my first, I guess, coasters, and I loved it. And then I rode it recently. It was running so bad, like literally all the brakes I think were on it like the hardest they could be, and like the final brakes literally simulated a car crash, but like in a bad way. Because I know some people are like, oh, Skyrush's drop, that's like a car crash, but that's in a good way. This is just like bad. So I think I got some really bad rides on Goofy's Sky School, so that's not a good Wild Mouse. I can't believe I've gotten to the point where in this stream where I'm talking about Wild Mice. Like, that's just crazy. But I guess that's my thought on them. Let's see. I throw if I broke down before I could ride it and twist. Oh my god, that sucks. That would be so sad. Oh my god, Intimidator 305 and Twisted Timbers, you couldn't ride either. That's pretty bad. That's pretty unfortunate. Hope you get the chance to ride him in the future because, man, that would have killed me. There's not even that many coasters I have seen and not ridden at parks that are like that big of a deal to me. I don't think there's really any that are like, oh man, I really wish I rode this. I guess Vertical Velocity or Flash Vertical Velocity. That one just seems to be so elusive for me. It's always closed. It's just unfortunate whenever I go to Discovery Kingdom. On Coast Rider, a kid tried to step off before and tore up his leg. Yeah, something weird like that happened. That's an unfortunate incident, and I know they were trying to do something to make sure that didn't happen. But yeah, didn't really not a good choice with that restraint. Fastlane Plus helps a lot, especially when you're visiting with a bunch of slow people in your party. I got Fastlane Plus at my King's Dominion visit, but I only got one ride on 4 coasters each. Really? Man, that's pretty crazy. When I was at Cedar Point on my one-day visit, I was able to get 27 rides on different coasters using Fastlane Plus. It might have actually been more than that now that I think about it, but yeah, pretty crazy. And I got 5 rides on Steel Vengeance, 4 rides on Maverick. I was supposed to get 5, but it like broke down literally in line. 3 on Dragster, 2 on Millie, 2 on Magnum, and I think 1 on every other. Would I like to ride some of the other coasters more? Maybe, but I was pretty content with my visit there. You never buy Flash Pass or Fastlane when you go to parks. Too expensive. I can see that. My nephew finally conquered his fear of coasters on Goofy's Sky School coaster. Like I said, I think I got a bad ride on it on my last ride because I loved it when I was younger, and there was no way it was nearly as running as bad as when it was when I last went. It was like on and off the entire day. It was like the operations at California Adventure to my last visit were really bad for whatever reason. Like, well, their dispatches were good, but like there's so many breakdowns and stuff. Guardians was at limited capacity. The Little Mermaid ride was on and off. Goofy Sky School was on and off. Incredicoaster was down for a significant portion of the day. It was crazy, and there's like other. Think there was like a few other ones that were like happened. I think like Golden Zephyr, I think that's what it's called, was down at some point. It was crazy. Definitely really weird, and especially in like the middle of summer. Um, yeah, pretty nuts that actually happened. But yeah, Goofy's Sky School, like I remember it for being good, but my last ride was terrible. You literally lowered my expectations for a Coaster Rider a lot. Well, I think if you go in thinking it's going to be the worst thing ever, you probably will think it's not as bad. So I hope I'm doing you a service. Because if it is as bad or somehow worse than you expect, then, well, I can't say I didn't warn you. And if you think it's better than I said, then that's fine. Some people have said that. Because I literally make it out to be like the worst thing in existence. The people I go to parks with are very slow. Seems like it if you were able only to ride 4 different coasters. Um, Definitely for me, I'm more faster paced, and usually my group is as well. So yeah, I try to get to rides as fast as possible. My family is so slow. Maybe it's because we have to bring. Oh yeah, well when you're dealing with younger siblings, yeah. Um, when you're dealing with younger siblings, um, yeah, that can kind of be something because I think I remember when I was like, I went to Discovery Kingdom with some of my relatives, and it did. There was one year I did that, and it did kind of limit what we were able to do. But that's just kind of how it was. Like I kind of figured going in that was gonna happen, and it did. So, yeah, sometimes that does happen, but those are that's not usually, I guess, what happens when I go to parks. Um, Sometimes, actually, me and my brother have, like, when we were doing a trip to San Diego, I went to Legoland, California, SeaWorld San Diego, and even the San Diego Zoo, which is awesome, even though it's not a park. Um, but me and my brother, like, split for my family members because we wanted to do other things in them. And it, like I said, like they are gonna be in like a more, I guess, kids oriented part of the places. So we did our own thing, kind of. So if you're able to do that, I would highly recommend that if you need to ride certain rides or things like that. So hopefully that's good advice for some of you guys. Okay, so we're at 8 p.m. I am going to actually end the stream here because it's I ran it on about Grizzly and Coast Rider a little bit, and yeah, I ranked Wild Mice. It was all crazy. But thank you guys all for being on here. And of course, next week I'll be doing it Saturday, same time. Um, yeah, so pretty much thank you all for watching. And actually, I guess before I go, like I said, make sure to subscribe to the channels that are in the description below that are really close to hitting their goals. And if you haven't subscribed to them already, and that'll be all. So thank you and have a good night.